Hello everybody, and welcome back to my garden, my very hot and sweaty garden. It's 104 today, and I'm sitting outside in a good amount of shade, and I have a fan blowing on me, and it's still, whew. But I thought this was better scenery than being indoors, and I always prefer to be out in my garden if I can. So the reason that I come to you today is I wanted to speak to you about planning and getting started for fall planted hardy annuals for a beautiful spring show. What inspired me is this book called Cool Flowers. So we call them hardy annuals or cool flowers, and basically the concept of them are these are flowers that actually are frost hardy, and their life cycle is designed to be basically the mother plant drops a seed in the summertime, spring, and then when the conditions are right, when the temperatures get a little bit cooler, when there's more moisture on the ground, then those seeds germinate in the early fall time and kind of settle in, take root just in time for a winter frost to come around. And then they pretty much do nothing. They don't grow, at least on the top. You know, they just kind of hold down the fort, and all the while they are developing a really good, robust root system. And then as soon as the spring conditions that they like roll around, then they hit the ground running and they are ready to go full blown into spring, and they are going to be the ones heralding in your spring for you. So I started Cool Flowers. This will be my third year doing Cool Flowers, and I can't say how much it has literally brought so much joy to my life. And if I could teach somebody, if I could help somebody to capture a little bit of that and experience that for themselves, like, that is the point of this video. If you don't think that you particularly have a green thumb or haven't been very successful with seedlings, I highly consider you to give it a try. You can either get this book. I think it's under $20. I just ordered it on Amazon, and I have read it cover to cover. Lisa Mason Ziegler gives so much valuable information, and really I reference it all the time because I constantly come up to things that I don't have the answer to, and then what do you know? Lisa's covered it in the book. So the concept is that every flower has a hardiness zone, and if you live in that zone or above, then you are good to go to plant these out in the fall time. And if you live in a zone where you can fall plant these, you really should, because it's the way the plants are designed to live in their life cycle. And if you can provide that for them, you will have healthier, better plants that are going to reward you and, say thank you in the long run. So let's talk about, if you are new to Cool Flowers, there are many ways that you can do it. Maybe you're somebody who's not new to seed starting, and you have your established trays in your system. And I get that. Everybody kind of has their own way to do things. And I, for one, I love soil blocking. It's what I got started with because basically I got this book and I became a Lisa Mason Ziegler believer. And there's a lot of valid points to this. Not just the most valid points. So for a beginner who's starting out in seed starting, this is very little equipment. It's actually a very low cost to get started compared to if you were going to be doing larger trays, and say each specimen, so each tray is going to be snapdragons and then foxgloves and then Canterbury bells. Well, you're going to have like a lot of trays really fast, and then you're going to need more lights to cover those trays, and then you're going to need a better storage system to be able to store all of that. And for a lot of us who are just dabbling out in this, we don't want to really dedicate a room in our home or have a room that we can just throw at it and dedicate. So if you are just starting out, I have 6 seeds that I highly recommend, that I've grown myself, that have been an absolute favorite of mine. And with these soil blocks, so it's 6 varieties, and with these soil blocks, this is just a cheapo cafeteria tray that I got on Amazon. I've used it for years now. You can actually tell the line, it's so worn, but basically 6 blocks can fit in this tray. So with one cafeteria tray, one of these trays, I believe it's like 11 by 14 inches or something like that. You can start 6 of these soil blocks, which is 20 blocks, so 20 seeds in each one. You can start 120 seedlings on one tray, and you do not have to have a designated space in your room. I, for one, like if you're just starting out and you don't know if you want to dedicate a ton of time and money to this whole seed starting thing, go to Costco, go to Lowe's, go to Home Depot, and just buy a shop light. They are super basic. They have them there, and just get some command hooks and some zip ties, and just attach it to the undermount it underneath your laundry room shelf. If you have upper shelving in your laundry room, or if you have a cabinet somewhere in a hallway, that doesn't really matter. You could even put it in a closet. Just set it up in a closet, and all you need is this much space and a place to hang a light right above it. It's the least cost commitment out of all of them, and it's the least space commitment out of all of them as well. So back to the book. So out of these 6 seeds that I recommend, the first one we're going to be talking about is foxglove. And foxgloves are so beautiful. They are like the quintessential, gorgeous, just cottage garden perfection. I mean, no cottage garden is complete without foxgloves. And I know they make my heart soar. They get to be about 4 feet tall or so. And they really bring that airy height and dimension to the cottage garden. And it's just so beautiful to see that. They are just striking in person. And when they are sprinkled around in your garden, there's just honestly nothing better. So you can actually, if you live in a zone 5 or warmer, meaning zone 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, you are good to go. You can start these outside. If you live in a zone 3 or 4, unfortunately, you're going to have to start till early spring or late winter time to get those in the ground. So you'll want to start these about 10 to 12 weeks before your first frost, plus 6 weeks to get them established into the ground. So with these cool flowers, planting them out in the fall, it's important to know what your first frost date is. And so for me, my first frost date is about the middle of December. So I know counting back 6 weeks from there is about Halloween, the end of October. So I always set Halloween kind of is my goal, and it's kind of just a lucky coincidence. I keep it in my head. So I need to have all of my fall started cool spring flowers out by that time. And so the week or 2 before that, starting mid-October, I am hardening things off. I'm bringing them outside. I'm exposing them to the elements, getting them used to it. And then hopefully by Halloween, I have everything out in the ground. So that's really important. And so when a seed packet says it takes 10 to 12 weeks to start it, you're going to add those 6 weeks on to determine at what point you need to start your seeds. So for this year, I've actually done a lot of them, a lot of different foxgloves. But this year I'm going to be doing the white camelot, and I have some pink gin that I started last year, and those are a little bit more of an investment. I would be careful, not all foxgloves are first year bloomers. Like I have several pink gin because it just looks so beautiful. I really wanted to start it, but those are a second year flowering. However, the camelot whites that you would find at Johnny's or any of the other ones, just be careful and look and see that it is a first year flowering one, and then you will definitely get your like late spring, early summer foxglove blooms. So I'm starting camelot white, and I think it's just going to be beautiful. And this is a fun way to kind of start to think about your color palette and what colors you're going to be doing and putting them together. And they're all kind of come together at the same time. The foxgloves may be a little bit later, but hopefully we're going to have some good overlap with all of these things. All right, so the next one that I really recommend that I think is easy to start and great for beginners. All of these, by the way, are actually easy to start and I think great for beginners and will give you a wonderful display, especially when put together. The next one is going to be snapdragons, because, oh my gosh, we love our snapdragons. They are a beautiful cut flower. They are beautiful in the landscape. They get to be about 2 to 3 feet tall. And this year I am starting the Chantilly and Madame Butterfly series. So there are several different groups of snapdragons, and I don't want to get too... I feel like I can go down a rabbit hole with a lot of these different topics, and I'm trying to just keep it simple, because Simple is all that we need right now, and simple is enough to get you guys going and hitting the ground running and successfully. So group 1 and 2 snapdragons, they like shorter daylight hours and they like cooler temperatures, which means that is perfect for those early spring blooms. And if you live in a zone 4 or above, so most people in their different regions can grow snapdragons, starting them in the fall, and they are just beautiful. They may need a little bit of support. Most of the time I feel like they do, but I always figure let's worry about that when we get there. They are beautiful as cut flowers. They're beautiful in the landscape, and I highly recommend them, and I feel like they are just one of the most beautiful cottage flowers. They also add that spike element to them along with the foxgloves. So I have a couple of spike elements on the list, and then I have a couple of beautiful flowering ones that are really beautiful to cut, and then I have a climber as well. So on to the climber. So another quintessential classic cottage garden plant would be sweet peas. And I know that some sweet peas can be really difficult to grow. However, I have always stuck to the Spencer variety, and the Spencer variety has a reputation for being much more user-friendly. And honestly, I do find they are very user-friendly. The only thing that I would say for snapdragons is they really lay down like a really good taproot system, because if you think about it, they're climbers, they're going upwards. So starting them in one of these is not going to be realistic. You could start it in the 2-inch soil blocks if you have one of those, or you can just, go out and get like a little bit of deeper trays for just this particular variety and just start them like that. But you're going to want something deeper for their root system. And I would also say that with sweet peas, the seeds are the size of a pea. Genuinely, and they're very hard, so you're going to want to pre-soak them for about 24 hours before you plan on planting them. So all you need to do is start them 4 to 5 weeks plus the 6 weeks before your expected frost, and you can have beautiful sweet peas that are going to be one of the first things to erupt for you when spring approaches. And like I said, I've stuck to the Spencer series because they are more heat tolerant, and which for me in my area, it can be very helpful because we don't have very long springs. So if you live in an area where springs seem to just fly by very quickly, I recommend the Spencer series because they're more heat tolerant and they like longer daylight hours to get going, although I do find that they really are one of the first blooms for me in the spring. So highly recommend that one. And then our next one is going to be Campanula, also known as Canterbury bells. And they are just so beautiful and so unique. And I actually found these the first year that I did cut flowers, and they were probably one of my absolute favorites. And, they are just the cutest little bell-shaped blooms. And, it was amazing. People would come, I had them in my landscape, and people would come over and just say, oh my gosh, what are those? Those are so beautiful. Another reason to do cut flowers is because I have never seen these available to be purchased anywhere. They are not in garden stores. A lot of these things, like if you're not purchasing them and starting them from seed, you really don't get the experience of ever seeing them in person and seeing how absolutely beautiful they can be. But they're a beautiful cut flower. They're a beautiful cut flower. They are on the shorter side, so they get to be about 20 to 30 inches tall. They are beautiful. They are multi-stems. They're a very robust plant. This year I'm doing the Champion 2 series, and I'm doing Champion 2 White and Champion 2 Rose. And if you live in a zone 5 or warmer, then you should definitely be starting these this fall. This is actually on my non-negotiables list. In fact, I will confess, all 6 of these are on my non-negotiables list for what I start every fall because they are what I look to. This is the spring that I want to greet me, and they really do. And after a long winter, to not have to run out to the garden center and wait for things to have arrived and not have that great of a selection, it's so wonderful to be able to look out the window and see what you already put into action, and seeing them just burst to life when suddenly the conditions are there and spring is upon us. It really is such a beautiful, wonderful, fills the heart with joy after some longer, bleak months. For your Canterbury bells, you're going to actually want to start them 6 to 8 weeks before your first frost, plus that 6 weeks in addition to really help them get established in the ground before the cold sets in. Last but not least, this one actually is this one took my breath away this season, and she was the star of the garden this year, and with the Campanula and the Larkspur and Foxgloves, of course. They're like a wonderful symphony, if you will, a springtime symphony. So Orlea flower, also known as Mimoan lace, it is hardy to zone 6. So if you live in 6 or warmer, I highly recommend that you try her. She has a bit of a reputation for being tough to germinate and tough to start inside. And a lot of people say that they can do it and they have better luck with her outside. However, I think that when a lot of seed packets say outdoor seeding recommended, it's usually because, and not always, but I found that specifically with this seed, I actually had I had almost all of my seeds germinate, and I had, every garden bed that I had, I was able to put plenty of her in it. So my whole pack of 20 cell blocks, like I had 20 plants to go into the ground. And what I did was I put the seedlings under the lights, before germination. So I would put the seeds under the light for during the day. And then at night, they want to experience that temperature shift. They want to experience that coolness, that drop at night. So I would literally just put my tray next to an open window, and this would be somewhere out of the way with the door closed so that I didn't mind the frost, or having a window open didn't bother. We sleep with our windows open anyway, so I mean, it wasn't, but they want to feel the wind, they want to feel the breeze, they want to feel like they're outside. So I just tried to emulate that as much as I could for them, and they came up for me, and I never had any problem with her. And so I would recommend that if there are seeds, that's something that I would recommend trying. If there are seeds that say better off to direct seed outside, I don't have as much luck direct seeding things outside, and I feel like I have less control. And also a lot of pests, a lot of bugs get to them. We have a lot of slugs and things, and I feel like, it gets to them before I'm able to protect them. So I really like the control and being able to take care of the little babies indoors. So I recommend trying to mimic conditions of what they would experience outside. And usually that means like subjecting them to the nighttime temperatures and a little bit of breeze on them. And then during the day or in the morning, just shifting them back under the lights. And I actually find that none of the other seedlings on your tray are going to blink at that or be bothered by it. I didn't have, because I start several varieties on one tray, and I had the Orlea with all the other things that I had to start on that time frame. And I would just put my Orlea under an open window at night, and everything came up for me, and it wasn't a problem. So I can recommend that. Put them under a windowsill to allow them to breathe. So zone 6 can grow them. They are a beautiful umbel shaped. They're white, they're umbel shaped, so they only come in white. And I just think they are so beautiful. They really fill in those empty spaces in the garden. They scream spring. They are a beautiful complement to the Canterbury bells that are coming up around the same time, to the snapdragons, and to the sweet peas, to all of it, really. So if you're new to flower starting, I recommend those 6 seeds. If you can start seeds in the fall, I highly recommend that you do that, because you're just going to end up with taller, more beautiful, robust plants. One more thing I wanted to throw in, for seeds that recommend direct seeding, which means starting them outdoors, another trick that I like to use is using the tops of your existing pots. So this is where I have my Japanese maple. This is the perfect environment to sprinkle some seedlings and allow them to come up. It's out in the outdoors, which is what they want, but also they're nice and protected and in more of a controlled environment for you. So it's easier to kind of tend to them, to keep an eye on them, and it kind of fits the best of both worlds. So this is something also that I recommend for anything that you may want to try that requires direct seeding, so you don't lose them out in landscape and you get to keep an eye on them. So try them in the bottom of their pots. Any pots will do. You can just sprinkle the seeds around, let them come up, and then in late winter and early spring, whenever your ground is ready to be worked, just plant them out into the landscape wherever you want them to be. All right. Good luck to you. You can do it. If there's something that I want you guys to know out there, you won't regret trying it. If I can do it, you could definitely do it. And I highly recommend it. If I can spread that spring joy to people, like, it's worth it. So if you're on the fence about it, take that leap, try it out, and let me see how it goes for you. All right. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.